Payment Pulse, a podcast by ExplorePay, a leading full-service payment provider.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us today. I'm Noelle, and I'm back again with Joe from our inside sales team. Joe, welcome back.
Glad to be here, Noelle.
In our last episode, we walked through what actually goes on behind the scenes when a customer makes a payment, and today we're going to build on that conversation. Every month, business owners receive a payment processing statement, and for a lot of them, it's something they glance at, they maybe check deposits and then move on, without ever really knowing what the rest of the document is telling them. So, Joe, why do you think statements can feel confusing for owners?
They certainly can be very confusing and overwhelming if you're not really understanding the terms that are used or what's being said, to put it quite frankly. And there's a lot of information that's packed on these statements. And most of our business owners that we work with, of course, they're more focused on running a business than studying their statement or learning how to read their statement. So it can be certainly a daunting task.
So, Joe, when owners open this document, they see all kinds of different sections and don't know where to start. What section would you recommend they start with?
The best place to start is exactly where the statement starts, the quick view summary. Generally, most merchant statements will have similar sections on their statements, but for the sake of this conversation, I will specifically be referring to ours, which I certainly think is transparent and easier to read. This gives you a snapshot in that quick summary of just what the total volume was and the period date. And so it's all right at the top to give you guys an idea of what you took in, and then we'll go through the other sections, of course, in just a few.
Alrighty, so then right next to that quick view section is a section called the breakdown. Can you walk us through that?
Breakdown, you're going to get a high-level view of what you took in that month. So your total volume, your total settle volume, which is just all of your bashed out fees, and then your charges and net deposit. So all that right in that breakdown.
And then there's a details box that breaks out disputes, adjustments, withholding, and fees. Why is this part helpful for business owners?
Absolutely. This is great because it's going to give them that view again right at that top so they can see what disputes. So disputes or chargebacks, it's used interchangeably. If there's any chargebacks for that month, or adjustments, and adjustments are going to be coming from us, or if they happen to have some sort of program with one of our banks, that withholding may also be there. So that's going to give them that great breakdown and individualize each of those so they can plan accordingly or recognize that those happen when they're doing reconciliation.
And after that, the statement moves into the transaction totals by card type. What does this tell a business owner?
This section right here is actually very useful to any business owner because it's going to break down all of the card types. So you got American Express, you got Discover, Visa, MasterCard, and then even more honed in, it's going to tell you whether it was debit or credit. This is very useful information because it's directly going to correspond with your interchange levels. If you get a lot more debit card transactions, your interchange is going to be lower. You get a lot more credit card transactions, your interchange is going to be higher, just due to those fees that we're actually about to cover in just a few.
Awesome. And then next comes bank activity, right? Which is typically what most business owners care about.
That's right. Yeah. So bank activity, very plainly, is just going to state what date we made a deposit, and then it's going to tell you your amount. So right there on that first page, you'll see exactly that. It may continue on to the second page depending on how many deposits you had, but it's going to say here is the date that there was a deposit, here's the amount, and then it's going to help you reconcile those.
Then we get to the longest part of the statement, everyone's favorite, the fees section.
Yes. So fee section is certainly going to be the longest. Our statements are very forthcoming and transparent with information, which is going to make reconciling that much easier, or even planning accordingly that much easier, because we'll show you all of your interchange fees and the specific tiers within interchange that you are hitting. And then it does separate it out. So by provider, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. And then beneath that, you'll actually get a snapshot of our fees. If you're on an interchange plan with ExplorePay, it is separate. So it can be confusing at times when reading a statement, but ours makes it very clear. Here's your interchange fees. So those are all going to the providers. And then below, all the processing fees, those are fees originating from ExplorePay, which is going to include your rate, an authorization fee more than likely, and whatever monthly fees that may be included depending on the products and services we're providing.
Great. And then there's a section for disputes and adjustments,
That's
correct?
correct. So those are going to provide more details from that section that was referenced above in the quick view. So you'll actually see what happened with those chargebacks or disputes, what day and what type of dispute it was, when was the transaction date, and a reference for you to reconcile. And adjustments, again, that's going to be coming from our company. So if you ever have a credit from us or anything that we need to do to rectify an outstanding balance or anything, we would actually make that clearly notated on our statements right there for you.
Awesome. Thank you. So we worked our way through the full statement. To wrap this up, if a business owner opens the statement next month, what should they feel confident in doing?
Well, I'd say just being able to read their processing statement, it's so important. All of this information is condensed on this monthly report. Each month we generate that, of course. We're putting our best foot forward every time with transparency. So I'd say actually understanding these sections, like after you watch this video and you look at your statement, you'll see exactly what I just discussed and we had gone over. So we'll be more than glad to also connect and give you a more uh, personalized conversation with your statements. But that information is all right there. Being able to read your statement as a business owner is so important because there is a lot that takes place right there.
That's such a good point. Thank you for walking us through this in a way that explains exactly what a business owner will see when they open up their statement.
Yeah, absolutely. No business owner should feel confused looking at their own statement. Obviously, we don't want everyone to become the processing professionals because that is our job. You have a business to run, though. So we're going to be mindful of that. We want to give you that information very clearly so you can be more informed with business decisions you need to make to help grow your organization. So that's our intention of being transparent. Uh, again, we are the professionals, so we don't want to burden you with another task to do. But I'd say knowing how to read these, it's going to do you a lot of good for your organization.
All right. Thank you again, Joe, for walking us through that process. For all of our viewers, Joe and I will be back soon to continue this conversation about the basics and fundamentals of payment processing.